Hello everyone, welcome back. I'm Inside Elections. The date is Monday, December 22nd, 2025, and today we're going to be talking about how Democrats can win the Senate in 2026, their pathway to Senate majority. Now, to make it clear, I do not believe that Democrats are going to win the Senate in 2026, but they have a better chance of winning it than everybody gives them. They can win. It is not a 0% chance that they win the Senate majority, given the national environment with how blue it might be. So to start off, let's get straight into it. There are safe states, there are likely states, there are lean states, and there are tilt states. Safe states, which we're going to categorize first, are states that are going to be won by the respective parties by 15 points or over. These are states for the Democratic Party, like Oregon, Minnesota only because in 2024 it was a safe state for the Democrats. It was 6+16 because Royce White is the Republican candidate. He's running again. He is extremely unpopular. Democrats are going to win the seat by 15, maybe even 20 in 2026. These are also other safe states include Illinois, Massachusetts, Rhode Island. In a scenario where Democrats win the Senate in 2026, New Hampshire is also a safe state. Same with New Jersey, Delaware, and Virginia. Virginia and New Jersey, you might say, oh, they've been shifting right. They're not going to be a safe state. In Virginia, the governor's race was D+15. Where's the governor's? Yeah, be a governor. It was D+15, roughly. And now, yes, Winston Sears is a remarkably weak Republican candidate. I do believe that Virginia and New Jersey, for that matter, like Mikey Shiro, she wasn't that great of a candidate. She still won by 13 in New Jersey. I believe that both these states, if Democrats win the Senate, will be D+15. Oh, I almost forgot. Colorado and New Mexico will also be safe states for the Democratic Party. Normally, I would say New Mexico would be a likely state, which is a 5 to 15 point margin. I believe if Democrats win the Senate, I said this 10 times already, that it will be a safe state if Democrats win the Senate. Now, Republicans also have their fair share of safe states. However, not as many, or actually maybe as many, but let's get into it. States like Idaho, not Montana. We'll get into Montana later. But states like Wyoming, South Dakota, not Nebraska, not Kansas, Oklahoma, not Texas, but Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Kentucky, not Kentucky. Oh, yes, Kentucky, Tennessee, I meant to say, and West Virginia, not South Carolina, not Florida. These are states that are going to be won by the Republican Party by over 15 points. Now, let's go straight into the likely states. Likely states, states like Montana would normally be a safe state. Montana would be a likely state. Same with Kansas and South Carolina and Florida. In 2024, Montana was R+7. Yes, this was because they had an incumbent Democratic senator. John Tester was popular, relatively popular for Montana. It's not going to go above a 15-point margin. I just don't see that happening. In 2020, this is the last time this Senate map was the same. Montana was R+10. Kansas was R+12. South Carolina was R+10. Mississippi was also R+10, but Mississippi is going to stay a safe state, I believe. Which is why I believe that these states are going to be likely and not safe for the Republican Party. Florida, you could make an argument for making it a lean state for the Republican Party, which is a margin of 1 to 5 points. I do not see Florida narrowing up. The Republican candidate, it's not clear. It'll probably be, what's his name? I can't remember his name, but the Republican candidates are relatively popular. The Democratic candidates aren't that outstanding. There's no one extremely special like in these other races. Florida's going to stay a likely state for the Republican Party. But Democrats also have some likely states. Now you might say, what? There's Alaska, red state, Texas, Nebraska, Iowa. All these states are red states left, apart from Maine. If Democrats are winning the Senate, states like Michigan, Georgia, North Carolina, and Maine would have to be likely states for the Democratic Party. Michigan is actually no, so is Georgia. Georgia, John Ossoff is running for re-election. He's the incumbent senator from Georgia, a Democrat. He is popular. His challenger on the Republican side is not popular. I can't remember his name for the life of me like either. Same with North Carolina, but John Ossoff is popular. If Democrats are winning the Senate, he's winning this by more than 5 points. Same with North Carolina. Not Royce, Roy Cooper is an extremely popular Democrat, and he's running for U.S. Senate. He's been in North Carolina, statewide North Carolina politics since, I believe, the 90s. He has never lost an election. And he's, like, say that again, he has never lost an election, and he has been in statewide North Carolina politics since the 90s. So I don't think that's going to end in this environment. North Carolina was what was it exactly? Look at the margin. 24, it was a R+3 state. The national alignment is going to be more than R+3, and Roy Cooper is a much, much better candidate than, actually, I can't remember the name of the Democratic candidate, Senate candidate, or no, there wasn't a Democratic. Okay, forget what I just said. Roy Cooper is a popular Democrat going against, I can't remember his name, but a very unpopular Republican with little to no name ID who was also getting primaried. I believe North Carolina, if Democrats win Senate, would be a likely state. Not similar, but Michigan would also be a likely state. In 2024, it was on the presidential, it was R+1.4. On the Senate level, Elissa Slotkin won by 0.3 against Mike Rogers. Mike Rogers is the Republican candidate. He is running again. Out of all four of the swing states, Michigan, North Carolina, Georgia, and Maine, Mike Rogers is the most formidable, popular Republican candidate in Michigan, which is why I'm going to change Michigan to a lean state. Even if Democrats win the Senate, I don't think Michigan's going to go above a 5-point margin unless there's an exceptionally strong Democratic candidate, which there won't be, because there are 3 Democratic candidates in the primary. Haley Stevens, who is a moderate corporate Democrat, who is unenthusiastic. I do believe no matter who Democrats nominate, the blue national environment will carry him over the finish line, pretty much no matter who. But Haley Stevens is not popular. Mallory McMorrow, she is progressive left, and Abdul El Sayed, the other Democratic primary candidate, is even further left, which in a swing state is not the best way to get elected, by being progressive left. But once again, I do believe no matter out of these 3 candidates, one of them is going to be the Democratic nominee. Whoever it is will most likely be carried across the finish line by the national environment, especially if Democrats are winning the Senate I do believe they'll win by 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe possibly even more, depending. That brings us to Maine. Maine is interesting. Susan Collins has been the Republican senator from Maine since, I actually don't know when. She's been a senator for a long time. I think she served 8 terms, maybe. She's been the Republican senator from Maine for a long time. Now, we have said for the past 2 elections that she's going to be ousted. The Democrats are going to flip this because Maine's a blue state. The Democrats are going to flip it away from Susan Collins. It never happens. In 2020, we said this. She won by 9. But now, I truly believe this time she is out. There aren't many polls about her, but I think the latest one she's at a 14% approval. A candidate with 14% approval a Republican candidate with 14% approval is not going to win statewide in Maine, a blue state. I think he's going to flip to the Democratic Party, especially if Democrats are winning the Senate. Which brings us to the last 5 states. Democrats have to win 2 of these 5 to win Senate control. They would have to win 51 seats, not 50, because if it was 50-50, J.D. Vance would be the tiebreaker, and that'd be the same thing as a Republican Senate majority. So Democrats have to win 2 of these 5 states. The least likely, I think, are Iowa. I think Iowa is going to be lean for the Republican Party. There has been data out recently saying that Iowa is competitive. I don't think I believe that. There is no outstanding candidate on the Democratic side like there is in Alaska, Texas, Ohio, Georgia, North Carolina, etc. There's no outstanding candidate. There's also not any crazy bad candidate on the Republican side. Joni Ernst was the awful candidate, the current senator from Iowa. She's not running for re-election because she knows if she did, Iowa would be very competitive for Democrats in 2026. So now it's going to be pretty much a standard R versus D in the state, which is not going. Which I do not believe is going to be enough for Democrats to pick it up. Iowa, Nebraska. We have. Now you might say Nebraska. What? Nebraska is an R plus 20 state, R plus 21 state. How can Democrats ever win it? They're not even fielding the Democrats are not even fielding a candidate in the state. That's because the independent Dan Osborne is running in 2024. Let me go to Senate. Dan Osborne lost by 7 points. Lost to Deb Fischer by 7 points. In a national environment that is going to be blue enough away from the Republicans, Dan Osborne has a chance of flipping this seat away, not to Democrats, but away from Republicans. Deb Fischer was an exceptionally weak candidate on the Republican side, and she still won by 7, but that's in Nebraska. I believe that if Democrats are winning the Senate, or either way, in my actual prediction, or if Democrats win the Senate, I do believe Nebraska will be a lean state for the Republican Party. I think it's going to shift at least 2 points to the left. That's all it takes for this to be a lean state rather than a likely state. Would it be for Nebraska to shift 2 points to the left? I think that's going to happen no matter what. I don't think Dan Osborne is going to win. Maybe he can pull out an upset. I don't believe he can. That leads us to the last 3 states. The last state that I think Republicans have the best shot in out of these 3 is Texas. Now, if Texas, this is if and only if James Tallarico is the Democratic nominee and Ken Paxton is the Republican nominee. That's the only way this state is even competitive whatsoever. Ken Paxton is extremely unpopular. James Tallarico is popular. However, he's being primaried by Jasmine Crockett. If she wins this primary, Texas is good as maybe even a safe state for Republicans. But if James Tallarico is the nominee, Ken Paxton is the nominee. It looks like Ken Paxton is going to be the nominee. The Democratic nominee is not as clear. James Tallarico is looking better, I believe. But if he wins the Democratic nominee, Texas will be competitive. I don't think it's enough to flip it blue, but it will be below that 5-point margin. And now, to the last 2 states, which are the 2 states that I believe have the best chance of flipping to the Democrats. Let's start with Alaska. Alaska is the only way Alaska can flip to the Democrats is if Mary Peltola runs. If and only if Mary Peltola, the only person in the world who can flip Alaska blue, is Mary Peltola. If she runs, I do believe currently the Republican is still favored, but she has a shot if she runs for Senate in Alaska. That brings us to the last state. So my dogs are in the background barking. I'll wrap this video fast. Ohio is the last state. There is a chance Democrats will win this with Sherrod Brown. Yes, Bernie Moreno was a terrible candidate, and which is why he only won by 3 in 2024. And because Sherrod Brown is popular, I do believe that it is possible for Sherrod Brown to flip this if the national environment is blue enough, which is why this is the map. This is Democrats' map to the Senate majority. What do you think? Do you think that Democrats have a shot? I believe that they have a shot. I don't think they're going to win. This is not my prediction. I do not think they're going to win the Senate, but they have a chance. They have a better chance than everybody is saying to win the Senate. So this is the map, in my opinion, would be the most likely if Democrats were to win the Senate. What do you think? Let me know your comments. Comment any suggestions. Like the video if you like the video. And yeah, subscribe if you'd like to. Have a good day.